What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Carlene plus Jaime.
Woo woo.
And we are so happy that you are tuning in. And tuning in can be on YouTube, can be on Instagram, can be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you are catching us. We just thank you for listening to us and for liking and subscribing to our videos. So for our day ones and our day nones, and I say that with all love and with all compassion. When I call you a day none, I'm just simply talking about those that have not subscribed us yet. So we want you to go from unsubscribe to subscribe. So if you would just hit the like button, the comment, share, anything that stands out to you that you appreciate about what we said, it would greatly help us to get to that 1,000 mark. We're getting closer, but we're not there as yet. So if you can help us get there, we truly would appreciate it. So with that being said, let's get right into our episode. What's going on, Carlene?
Hey, what's up? What's up? We are redoing this episode. We're doing an episode that we recorded a few weeks ago about how to love a Black woman, how to love your Black woman. It is very clear that loving women in general is something special, right? And I think even loving a Black woman is even more special. When we think about the different things that we face as women in general, and then add the layer of a Black woman, I think it's very important to recognize. It's very important to be able to express and talk through like how to love a Black woman, not just love a Black woman, but how to love her well. And so that's what we're talking about on this evening.
Yeah, so this is going to be a really good episode. It's going to kind of be me like digging in and diving into asking you some
digging and
questions.
diving.
So I understand that to love you means to love the whole you, not just a part of you, not just the parts I see, but also just your entire whole being. Also know that loving you also means protecting your peace, providing security, providing just a sense of just knowing that I got you, right? And then also know that loving you means celebrating and investing in your dreams.
That's good.
You know, a lot of times the dynamic can be, particularly in our relationship, I don't know about yours, but I know that I can be very ambitious. And with that ambitious can come selfishness, where it's just like, I want to go to school. I want to do this. I want to do that. And so how am I cognizant of the fact that it's important for me to say, no, it's your turn. No, you got to do that, right? And so invest in your dreams. So I do have a question I want to start off with you. And the first question is this. When did you first realize that I was creating space for you not to be strong?
When did I realize that you were creating a space for me not to be strong? I would say maybe year 4 or 5, around there.
Okay.
Not to say that you were intentionally saying, you know, I need you to be strong. I need you to be a strong Black woman. I know you've been taught to be a strong Black woman. So I need for you to be a strong Black woman or strong. I don't think you said that. But I think there were times I think it was more me than it was you. I think it was more the perception of you get married, and not that I followed the traditional route of, you know, staying at home or cooking or cleaning or always cooking, always cleaning, you know, do the wifely duties. Not that we stay or stuck to those traditional roles, but for me, I always felt that I was always trying to balance between I'm independent, I grew up seeing an independent mother, and I want to continue that independence. But I know that you're here to help me, to let me know, like, or to share that burden, to share that, you know, to share it with me, not me having to feel like I have to carry it on my own.
Yeah.
So I think, I know I said originally for year 4 or 5, but I think I put it upon myself to kind of like say, no, I'm strong. Like, I don't need for you to take these bags of groceries by yourself, or I can open my own door, or if we're setting up, you know, when we first got married, like we started from scratch. So our furniture, we literally set it up together, right? There would be times where I would take the lead and be like, nah, I got this, you know, and you would just kind of sit back like, okay, have at it. And so I think it was more me than it was you.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually, when I asked you that question, I thought you were gonna say like year 7 or year 8. I didn't know it was so soon, but I do agree with you saying year 4 or 5, because it did feel like it was hard to love you without you being strong. I don't know how to really say it, but like to love you like that because of how you were raised and what you saw. So your mom did everything, you know, you're accustomed to doing everything. Also, you're a New Yorker, so New Yorkers have that kind of like attitude is like, I don't need nobody. I can do this all by myself. And me, like, not growing up in a home with a mother and a father to be able to see my father do it. So I'm just thinking off of like just like what society taught me or whatever taught me to like open the door, let me drive and stuff like that. But you be like, nah, I want to do this. Now I want to do it. You want to carry all the grow. I'm like, let me do it. And then I'm also like timid too because I'm like, I don't want to make her feel like she can't do it. Like I have to do it. So, you know, let her do it. And then in my brain, I'm like, well, then she probably gonna go upstairs and be like, this Negro let me carry all these groceries up. So it was definitely a confusing thing. I think early in our marriage, in regard to, you know, loving you with also trying to break free of the strong black woman trope and things like that. Yeah, so
Very true.
yeah, so I agree. I thought you were actually going to say like in year 7 or year 10.
That's what popped into my head first, but I do remember it being a struggle earlier on in our marriage where I would be like, no, I got it. No, I'll drive. Oh, no, like, we're good. And then to your point, I think there would be some times where I would say, dang, I'm tired, or dang, I don't necessarily want to, but you know, we're in this marriage together. So forget what tradition says, like the man should do this and the woman should do that. I was like, I can do it too.
Yeah, that's
Whatever
right.
you could do, I could do it too.
Right, or I could do it better, right? And
Exactly.
So, you know, and then I just got to stand back because I can't say, no, you can't do it better. And then that will start something else. And then there's also why you letting me do this, right? Because I think sometimes we used to go back and forth with that, like it's confusing, right? 'Cause
Very
it's like,
much so.
You supposed to do this for me, and I'm like, well, what, you know, how am I, you know, stuff like that. So that's real good, that you pointed that out. So I think like the next question that I would want to know from you is like, when did you feel like you were seen? Like, did you ever feel like in our marriage that I didn't see you, or did you always felt seen? Is that
Feel
correct?
seen?
Yeah, feel seen.
Did I always feel seen in our marriage? I would say consistently, yes. You always made me feel seen. There were definitely moments, and we talked about that. If you want to go ahead and go back and listen to one of our episodes where we talked about when we both did not see each other. We stopped seeing each other, and how, life got in the way of us seeing each other. Check out that episode. It's a really good episode. But getting back to your question, I think there were moments where I felt seen, moments where I feel like I wasn't seen by you. But I would say consistently, I felt seen in different seasons of my development into, who I am today. I think that there were parts of me that I unfortunately kept hidden, or parts of me that I didn't like. I was probably too afraid to verbalize or be as clear, because I was unsure of what it was that I wanted, or what I too was processing through whatever it was. So for example, me carrying the groceries, like, no, do I want to carry groceries? No, absolutely not. But at the same time, I'm fighting off how I grew up, what I saw, versus what we can possibly, the possibility of us creating something beautiful and amazing that fits in what works for us. Like, I should have said, yo, Jamie, I actually don't want to carry any groceries. I just want to sit pretty, and I can unpack the groceries, but I don't want to have to lift anything.
Yeah.
Opposed to me lifting and being like, yeah, I'm doing it. But I really sometimes didn't want to.
Yeah. And that's like, so that is real. That made me think about something, because expectations are so important in marriage. And that being raised by a single mother, witnessed my mom carry groceries inside, right? And sometimes I would help her. So it's almost like indirectly, but directly as well, I can probably be like, why can't you help carry groceries?
Right.
Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah,
You got two arms. Like, my mother's done it before. I've seen other women do it. Like, why you got to be able to sit pretty and me struggle with all these groceries up the stairs? So it's interesting how, like, understanding loving your wife is different from loving your mother.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and how you love your mother is not how you should love your wife. Right? Because your wife is not your mother. Your wife is a completely and whole different person. So I think that goes back to loving the whole you, right? And understanding, what does the whole you need, or what does the whole you like? But then also remembering that you got to let me know. Like, it's not something that I can just like pull it out of the air, right? Or because what I'm going off is just cues of what I've seen, and cues off of music from what I've heard, or what they do in the movies. Is like, oh, okay, that's what the guy is supposed to do. Was there ever a time that you could think about when you felt unseen?
Yeah, for sure. You want a specific time?
It's up to you. That's totally on you, but
I think I remember a season where, and this is like earlier on in our marriage.
Or maybe, I'm sorry I cut you off, but let me just, or maybe you can describe what it felt like to be unseen.
To feel unseen feels lonely. It feels almost as though the person that's supposed to get me doesn't. The person that's supposed to see me doesn't. And it's hurtful. Hurtful, painful. And it feels like, if not careful, like, it can definitely feel like, what's the sense, or what's the use, right? Like, if this is supposed to be the safest place on the earth, and it no longer becomes that. It becomes unsafe. Yeah. So it feels unsafe. It doesn't feel like I won't say go to the extreme or say not loved, but it's almost like if you truly love me, you will take the time to see me. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you do? What did we do when you felt unseen? Because, like, we're talking about the messy middle, and we're talking about stuff that we've been through. As you said, there are times that you felt unseen. What do you do in that situation? Do you say something, or is it best practices to say something, or do you just like move on, hope that he gets it, hope that I get it at some point? Like, what's the next move?
I think for me, my first initial response is to withdraw, to like feel like to create distance. And it may not be the healthiest because it's creating distance without communicating, saying, hey, I'm experiencing something right now and I kind of want a little bit of space. For me, I don't do that. I probably do that a little bit more now, but earlier on, no, I was like, you felt that something was off or something that was wrong, if something is wrong. And I just kind of go into a spiral of sorts mentally, just thinking about like, man, if I don't have him, who do I have, and just kind of going through that. And then, but I think the best practice is, and I've tried it over and over again, is just communicating. Because, for me, I can't keep it in too long. And so just being able to communicate to you and let you know exactly what it is. Because sometimes when you are, when you're silent and that distance is being created between you and your spouse, like for me, I'm going to create the narrative. I'm going to write the story. I'm going to, assume what it is or why it is that you are not seeing me, why it is that you are not, paying attention to me. And so I think it's so important to just talk it out, because when you do talk it out, you realize, oh, okay, I understand now. Like you're explaining yourself. You're letting me know why it was that, or what were the reasons around it.
Yeah, because I appreciate you saying that and doing that, because when you feel unseen, I don't know.
Right.
Right? It makes sense. You're unseen.
Right.
And it's important to be able to because I'm not going to speak for most men. I am clueless sometimes. Absolutely clueless. I'm probably busy thinking about a whole bunch of stuff, so I don't know what's going on. So I think that's critical for whoever in the relationship feels unseen. You need to say something, because unseen, like you can't wait until you start withdrawing to start noticing. Like you want to kind of like get to it before it gets to that point, because time may go on, then you start withdrawing, and I'll be like, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you acting like that? And it's so good to know like that, man, I didn't know that you felt unseen at that moment when you were saying something, when you were doing something. Like I've learned throughout our relationship that one of the ways that you feel seen and heard is for me, while you're talking, to not be like this.
Right.
Right. To be, even though I'm listening, but it's not 100% active listening.
Correct.
Yeah. Or turn off the TV.
Correct.
You hear that, fellas? Turn off the TV, take the phone, put it like this on your lap, and sit like this and listen.
I'm not saying for you don't have to sit like that, but I think it's very important, like especially if the person is, if your wife, your spouse, your your husband is not feeling seen, the worst thing you could do while they're talking is look down at your phone or feel as though like you're distracted. Like that right there, for me, it's not going to make things better. It's going to make things worse.
Oh, trust me, I know. Okay, so that's good. So loving your whole self, it means to see you.
Yes.
And to not just listen to you, but to hear your heart. And that's something that I'm learning more and more day by day. So you gonna say something?
Yeah, I want to say that communication is so important. It really is. Like, it is the thing that can make or break your marriage. And being able to openly communicate your heart, the depths of your heart to your spouse, because I think that is what made the difference. Of first, you made me feel safe. You made me feel like you are my safe space. So there's basically just about nothing on this earth that I wouldn't be able to talk to you about. And so when that is established, we can have real conversations, serious conversations about, I don't feel seen, or I don't feel, I feel as though like right now I don't want to be the strong one. Right now I don't want to carry the groceries. I want my man to carry the groceries. I want my man to open up the door. I want my man to, treat me as though like you essentially don't want me to lift a finger.
Yeah.
I want you to say, you know what? I'm going to make dinner tonight, or I cleaned the house, or, you know what I mean? So it's not this constant thing of I'm doing it. I'm glad to do it, but at the same time, it'll be nice if I have some help. And just being able to communicate that and say that. So it's so important, because I know for our marriage is thriving in the way that it is because we communicate to each other. And like, we've had conversations, like you would be like, I'll come home and I'll say, man, I'm tired. And you'd be like, you want me to cook? And you'd be like, I'll be like, thank you, Jesus. We praise God. We thank you, Lord. And so I think that is just so important. Communicate.
Because I'm listening to you talk and I'm like, are you talking about this week? Like,
No.
talking about last week?
No.
You clean the house. Why you ain't clean?
No.
I'm just messing.
Okay.
I'm just being facetious at the time.
Be nice.
But yes, I'll be nice, because that's what I tell you every morning. But I would say that to anyone listening, that to see your spouse is to see, like, how do I say it? It's to almost like see it. It's to observe, right? So if on Monday we talk and you have a hard day, I should anticipate to make sure that I'm making space for you to rest. So it's not just about that one moment, right? So for example, you may have a hard day on Monday. We'll sit down, we'll talk about it. And then I'll do what I'll do. And then that's it. I believe that my job in seeing you is saying, okay, she had a hard day on Monday. Let me try to do my best to make this whole week as easy for you as possible. So it's not just like on Monday I cooked, right? Let me take a load off of you for the rest of the week. So I think those are ways that I try to see you and try to, just try to support you in every way that I can, possible, to make sure that my Black woman is thriving and not just surviving.
Exactly. And I think that heaviness is that bearing the weight of being the strong Black woman, whether it's something that we saw growing up with our own mothers, our aunts, or even our grandmothers, being the Black strong woman. You see it kind of personified on TV, in movies, in shows, and I think it's just so important to recognize that narrative is killing a lot of us. It's a slow death, but it is killing us, and that we're shouldering all of this weight. And can we do it? Absolutely. And we have done it for years. But I think it's so important to recognize and realize that you don't have to carry that narrative to prove that you are strong. I think, like the Bible says, when I am weak, that's when we are made strong because of Jesus' strength in us. And I think it's so important that we communicate, yo, it is heavy right now. And I no longer want to bear this burden. And I think it's just, that for me was a game changer. Of course, going to therapy was the game changer, in that my therapist had to basically let me know, like, you got to let go of this Carlene is the strong Black woman narrative. You got to let go of it and be soft enough to recognize that you don't have to carry it. And so I think I just wanted to put that in there, say that, because it really is important for us to get help, seek help, ask for help, because the thing that we're trying to shoulder, the thing that we're trying to prove or show that we are strong, is actually not helping, but it's hurting.
Killing.
It's killing.
Heart disease.
Yeah.
All kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think you segue into like my next question, right? As we talked about strong Black woman and sometimes the burden that comes with that, and sickness and mentally. And one of the ways that I know that I can love you as a Black woman is protecting your peace. So walk me, the audience, through, like, what does that look like? Like, what does protecting your peace look like? What is peace to you?
Protecting my peace, I think that is praying over me. Yeah, praying over me. My heart's desires, what truly brings me joy. Praying over that, over me, knowing that I'm prayed over. Protecting my peace means that you are almost like my filter. That I can come to you and be my soundboard. And so you protect the craziness of words that may come from my mouth. I don't know if that makes sense. Like you are a safe place for me to come and kind of completely unravel.
Yeah.
And so that when I show up in spaces, that I can show up
Put together. If you're unraveled, you want to be whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Protecting my peace. Protecting my peace would be asking the questions. Asking the question, how are you?
Yeah. And not just how are you? No. How are you?
Yeah, like really getting to the depth of my soul.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I'm trying to think, protecting my peace would be not allowing anyone or anything to disrupt the peace that I've worked hard on getting. So I know I kind of said before, like filtering, but like you are filtering, like if someone comes and I'm like, comes to me and they're like, such and such, and they're upsetting my peace, you'd be like, yo.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yo, step off.
Yeah.
Leave her alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So those are just some of the things that I came up with off the top of my head. But I'm sure there's a lot more.
Yeah, I'm sure. We'll probably have to do another episode about it. But like, are there things that you would say that I do that add to your load? That like contribute to your weight? or if there isn't, which I'm pretty sure there are not, because I am the
Right.
perfect husband.
Right.
Or
Right.
if you can give examples of what are some things that contribute to the load that you already carry.
What are some things?
Okay, I think it'd probably be easier if you answered it in the way of like, are there things that I do that make the weight or the burden, not weight or burden, but that just make it more for you to carry on your shoulders? And I think you kind of alluded to it a little bit, where you were talking about. I think you alluded it to the fact of take it how I can take things off, cooking or cleaning up and things like that. But I'm just wondering if there are things that perhaps outside of that contribute to your any kind of weight or any kind of mental, what's the word, not I don't think agony, but just mental stress or to your life.
Um, I'm trying to think. I think when you were, I think it was your first doctorate degree. I think that was stressful because you were doing a lot of traveling. And it was very burdensome in terms of trying to juggle, the girls, what I was doing with work and stuff like that. So now in this season specifically, you're asking now.
Or just in general, I think, yeah, but I think that's a good one because I can definitely see that.
I think that I'm trying to think now because I feel like we have really gotten over that hump of me feeling the weight of just everyday survival living. I remember a quick example. I remember like mornings, breakfast in our house is pretty big in terms of like I always try to make sure that the girls throughout their years make sure that they have breakfast, like a solid breakfast. That has changed a bit now that they're a little bit older and I'm working and I'm like, we need to get out the house. So breakfast is more or less a grab and go. But I do remember the heaviness of it just being, even though it was something that I took on, but like there will be times where I'll be like, can you go downstairs and start breakfast, or can you kind of help with getting them something to eat because I'm trying to get ready as well. So I think that was something that used to happen. It doesn't anymore because we've communicated, we've talked about it, and you take initiative, more initiative now. So
Yeah, I think, you bringing up when we first moved to Texas, I think that was definitely probably the messiest
yeah, it was very
part of our
messy,
marriage.
very messy.
And when we say messy, I mean, there was a lot happening. And I think that was like a whole season of me not seeing you. Because even though you encouraged me to do the doctorate degree, you were like, you got to do this. I don't think I considered the full weight of what that would have been and how that affected you, because that was a season when you weren't working. We had just moved to Texas, so we're leaving what we know, coming here. The girls are what, 2 and 3 years old, or 1 and 2, so they're still babies. You're home with them. I'm out there pastoring and traveling, and you're basically a single parent. And I think that's when it's funny you said the year 5 or whatever, because that's when we moved there, right? It's funny when I remember you said to me at one point, you're like, I'm tired of being a single mom. And that's when it was like, okay, I need to switch up. So you saying like, all these things that you're saying is reminding me of that 2013 to maybe 2017, 2018 period. That was like a real challenging learning year. Not that we wanted to break up or we were talking about divorce or anything like that, but we were definitely missing each other.
Yeah.
And I would even say that I was unconsciously selfish because,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, I don't think I was consciously knowing that how selfish I could have been during that time. Because I'm thinking, you good, right? These are your kids. This is what we agreed to. You told me like, yo, do the doctor, the ministry. I'm doing it and stuff like that. But I really should have been. I don't think I was mature enough and wise enough in those years of our marriage to be able to stop and to say, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that will probably, that's probably the epitome of strong Black woman, holding it all together, holding all the plates together as the spinning plates, trying to have a husband pursue his dreams, have children that are loved on, cared for, poured into, lavished over, and still feel like I am just a shell.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that probably that season for me was yeah, I am strong. I am, but I did I did see the cracks
Yeah.
of that strong Black woman. That's where I became very anxious, and anxiety was like I literally felt like I was losing my mind. I was depressed. And so I think that, yeah, that was a pretty hard time
Yeah.
in our marriage. And I think because of that, we now are better for it, made better for it, because now I have the courage. I now have the I feel like I now have what I need in order to speak up and say what I need to say, and not just sit back and just let things slide because that's what I'm supposed to do, but to actually speak up and say, nah, bruh, or to say, this is what I want. This is how I want it to look. And be able to express all that I need to express without feeling guilty.
Yeah.
Feeling like I'm complaining, or, my mom did harder, or this person is doing better, not doing it better, but this person has so much more and they're doing it successfully. I could do it too. So I think that is just so important. So
Yeah.
important to
Yeah,
communicate.
for sure, for sure. All right, so getting ready to wrap this up. This is a good conversation. I just have two more questions for you.
Okay.
And this question is important, right? And I think it's important to the listeners to ask this question and change it for your context. But what do you want Katelynn and Amber to see modeled in the way that I love you? Katelynn and Amber are our daughters, by the way.
What do I want them to see?
Yeah, modeled in how I love you.
I want them to see how well you love me, and how you truly see me, and you make time for seeing me. Not just you. Yeah, I see you, but you make time to sit with me and to have me, talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk.
Talking.
Wait.
No, it's a song.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were being Jamie. But good. Okay, but I want them to know that the reason why you love me and you see me the way that you do is because of your love for Christ and Christ's love for you. Yeah, that God is the source that helps you be who you are. You don't show up you don't show up as Jamie, but you show up as Jamie, but you understand that God is the one that is at the core of your being.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good.
Just to name a few.
Yeah. I know when I love you, I'm really modeling for my daughters how they should be loved, how they should be respected, and hope that translates into when they get older and whomever they date or whomever they marry or even whoever they're friends with, male friends with, that they would respect them. And so I'm always mindful of just trying to make sure that I'm very respectful to you in front of them, wherever we are. And, even still, like, even when they're not around, like, to always be respectful. So that's good. And to model devotion and loving Christ. That's good. Okay. Final question. You ready?
Ready.
Let's do it. What would you tell a Black woman who doesn't feel like they are loved well? If you can, if you have anything to say to them, what advice would you give?
Wow. A woman who feels like she isn't loved well. First, I want to say you deserve to be loved well. Every woman deserves to be loved well. I think, like we talked about, a lot of times we walk into our marriages, relationships without fully being able to express what loving us may look like. And sometimes it's hard to communicate that. It's even harder to communicate that to someone that does not care or seem like they don't care about like truly loving you the way that you want to be loved. I think the first thing is you have to first get to the core of how you want to be loved. Because I know sometimes I was throwing out like not weird, but different vibes or different
messages.
Yeah, they weren't consistent. They weren't clear. And so not until I started understanding myself more and seeing that, knowing that this is how I want to be loved. This is what loving me looks like. It doesn't look like how it looks like for everybody else, but this is what it looks like for me. And once I was able to understand that, once I was able to know that, because I've done the work, and doing the work is going to therapy, that I was better able to communicate to Jamie, this is what works well for me. And praying that it landed on a heart of flesh, not a heart of stone. And I'm grateful that, Jamie was able to receive what it was that I was sharing. So I think that is what I would share with you if you are right now in a place where you aren't being loved well. And I also think that, I know for me, it wasn't that Jamie wasn't loving me well. It's just that he didn't see me. He stopped seeing me. He stopped seeing me or recognizing the core of who I am. And so I think sometimes they need reminders. Our husbands, our spouses need reminders. But again, first, figure out what loving you looks like, what loving you well looks like, and then communicate that prayerfully with your spouse, and just patience to know that the change is not going to be like immediate, but over time, lots and lots of conversations, lots and lots of ways to communicate what it is, what does loving you well looks like.
That's good. That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah. I think this was a great episode.
Ooh, Yes, it was.
So great answers.
Thank you.
And I hope they were great questions.
They were. They were excellent questions. You actually almost had me crying. Yeah, I
What?
almost cried.
This
I felt
close.
it.
This close.
Yeah, I felt it. I felt the heaviness of what loving a woman, and I think it's Black women, but I also think it's just women in general. When you think about the struggles that we go through, the suffrage movement, right? Like where we walk into spaces where our counterparts are getting paid or more than we are, where we're constantly fighting this battle of we deserve to be here. And here we are, have to prove ourselves, even though we know that we can do the daggone job better than our counterparts. So I think it's that constant narrative that we're fighting, like, of trying to prove ourselves. And so I think it's Black women, but I also think it's just women. And the beauty of women, of knowing that in spite of all the hell that we've been through, that we still are very much resilient. That right there is just enough for me to just break down and cry, because I just think it's just so beautiful to be a woman. I think it's beautiful to know that God has placed within us some amazing things, and just, yeah. Sorry, just went off in a tangent there, but I just think it's just,
Yeah. No, I think I appreciate it. I think the audience appreciates it. And I just hope that something in this episode resonated with you, and that you feel encouraged, you feel blessed, and that you continue to love Black women well. Their whole self, protect their peace, invest in their dreams, and support them in any which way that we can. So, signing off, this is your boy Jamie.
It's your girl Carlene. Peace.